over to Wes and ask you, Wes, to you're in the catbird seat right there. You see a lot of activity going across all these various agencies. Give us an example of a program you'd like to highlight.
Going back to the reducing cognitive load topic that we were just discussing in the last segment, VA is implementing just such a program right now, which is really interesting. If you go to the doctor, a long time ago, you would go to the doctor and they would just talk to you, and then later on they would write their notes. I remember the doctor leaving the exam room and they would go speak into a recorder for somebody to write those notes down later. And nowadays, when you go, they spend a lot of time just typing on the computer and not even looking at you. And the VA decided, hey, that's not what we really want. We want the physicians and clinicians actually talking to the patient and dealing with the patient, interacting directly.
Great idea. That always bothered me.
That's right. And so they're implementing, obviously with patient consent, an ambient listening solution that basically it's an AI-enabled solution that has a recording and a transcript of the visit, and then it's able to go in and weed out all the the small talk, how are you this weekend, and how are the kids, that kind of stuff is probably not going in the clinical notes. And then what's left over, it can actually take and make a valid clinical note, something that the next physician, next clinician would actually make some sense of. And again, not having all the chit chat. If certain diseases are mentioned, certain conditions, certain prescriptions, it can even summarize for the clinician later. So after the patient has left, hey, it looks like you decided you wanted to prescribe this medication. Is this the dosage you want? It can automate all those things and really reduce the time that it takes to get that kind of work done. And also, it's not just doing these things on its own. It's an agentic workflow, we say in the AI group, but it's not without the human in the loop. And so the human clinician is still there to say, nope, that's not what I wanted, or that's not what we said, or no, let's not put this in the notes. That was just something that this person said about their father or whatever. So it's reducing the amount of time that they spend actually working on the computer by a lot. An advancement on that tool, once it's fully implemented, will be able to do things like go into the notes. Bill was mentioning that his mother's physician had to say, well, I'll go into the notes later and come back with that. Well, there's no reason an AI can't just already surface that information and say, well, look, I went into the notes in the last 2 seconds, and here's the relevant information you were probably looking for. So that kind of stuff that gets people out of doing what we think of as non-credentialed work. Like, you didn't go to medical school to sit here and do paperwork all of your life. And so let's take that off your plate. Let the AI do that kind of stuff. So the AI is doing something that's not going to make the news. Nobody's going to say, oh, this AI did something to save somebody's life, but it did free the clinician up to save somebody's life or to save somebody's day, whichever the case may be.